Hello dancers, my name is Lily and I'm a mother, belly dancer and prenatal movement instructor. And today we're covering one of my favourite isolations, which are hip lifts. Not only do we use hip lifts to accent a point in a piece of music, but they also form the foundation of many of our more complex movements such as shimmies, tuck-seams and omnis, which is why it's one of the first moves that I teach my beginner students. We're going to begin with a warm-up and then get straight into technique and then a short drill at the end. So if you'd like to learn how I do hip lifts, then keep on watching. So before we get into our hip lifts, we need to warm up our bodies and check in with our posture. So the feet are going to be slightly narrower than hip width apart. This is going to look different on everyone depending on your body, but for me, that's about here. If you'd like to have a slight turnout in your feet, that's fine too. Now we're going to bend the knees and bring our weight into our heels slightly, so we should be able to lift our toes up off the ground. Then there's going to be a slight engagement in the low belly, not enough that we tuck forward like this and not released enough that we're sticking our booty out like that. We want like just a nice gentle engagement to lengthen the low back. Then the shoulders are going to come up, back and down to lift the chest, and then the arms are going to be soft and long, and then we're going to tuck the chin slightly so that the back of the neck is long. And just take a couple of breaths in this position while we kind of sink into this posture. Okay, let's start moving with it. So we're going to bring the right arm up and over to lengthen the right side of the body here. So it should feel a nice stretch down here. And then other side, arms out to center, and then reaching over with the left arm to lengthen the left side of the body. And again, out to neutral and over with the right arm, stretching the right side of the body, keeping a nice engagement in the low belly as we do this. And then the other side. Okay, let's go out and over, out and over, out, over, out and over. Beautiful. Bring the arms out. Now we're going to begin pedaling the feet. So right foot up and then left foot up, and then right foot up and then left foot up. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. If you want, you can circle the arms here, but that's optional. Let's speed it up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, both feet up, flat, and then bend the knees, and then flat. Both feet up, flat heels, bend the knees, and flat. Up, neutral, down, neutral. Up, neutral, down, neutral. Up, neutral, and down. 6, 7. Back with the right leg. Back, back, and back. So while we're doing this, we're really squeezing in the glutes to pull that leg back. 5, 6, let's speed that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Other side, back, together, back, together, back, together, back, together. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Okay, it's time to get into exactly how we do a hip lift. So coming back into our posture that we just went over before doing the warm up, we're going to have nice spongy knees and weight in our heels, low belly's engaged, shoulders are up, back and down to open the chest. And we can just bring our arms to a neutral position. If you want to have them down here, that's fine. You can have them here, here, or overhead, totally up to you. So we're going to start by just bending and straightening the knees here. So as we pull the right hip back, the left knee is going to bend forward slightly. And then we're going to pull the left knee back and the right knee is going to bend forward slightly. So you can see we've just got a little bit of back and forth here, and we're just letting that be really neutral and relaxed in the hips. But you will notice that as you do this, the hips naturally want to go up and down. So we're just playing with that back and forth here, and you can just feel it out. See how that feels, how this rocking motion or kind of a piston action feels in your hips. And then if you want, you can kind of start to add some juice. So in order to do that, we can add a little squeeze in the obliques, and that's going to kind of pull that hip up, up, up. And obviously you want to kind of coordinate that squeeze with that feeling of going back and that feeling of lengthening up here in the right leg. So that's when we would squeeze on the right side, and then as the left knee comes back, the left hip comes up, and then we squeeze on the left side. Squeeze, squeeze. Squeezing up and up. So really important here that we're keeping that low belly slightly engaged, and that's going to stop us from sticking our hip back and up. I'm going to keep that engagement. This is a very flat up and down movement, so no movement this way and this way. It's just up and down. Up, 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 up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Remembering to keep the weight back. And the hips are going up and down. So I'm going to turn this way so that you can see how this looks from the back. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And I'm also going to turn this way now so that you can see how this looks in the knees. Back, back, back in the knees. And that's what's lifting the hips up and down. Up. So we've got the up and down action in the hips now. We can go up, down, up, down, up, down, all the while going squeeze, 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 squeeze in here. And now we're going to add the glute work to make it a little bit more punchy and snappy. So that's when we're going to, as we pull the knee back, the right hip comes up, and at the top of the hip, right hip coming up, that's when we're going to add the glute squeeze that's going to kind of stop it in its tracks, and that's what kind of sends your hip belt upwards. So the left knee goes back, left hip comes up, and there's a little snap on the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right hip, left hip, right hip, left hip, right hip, left hip, right hip, left hip. So if that's feeling like too much, just come back to this squeezing, and you can add the snap in later. It's totally fine to go at your own pace. Right hip, left hip, right hip, left hip, right hip, left hip, right hip, left hip. So why don't we try? We're going to go squeeze 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to add in the snap for 8. So snap 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so squeeze 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now snap 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and squeeze. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, snap. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful. So that's the basic technique for doing a hip lift. We'd run it with some music. I encourage you to just keep playing with it. It should feel good, it shouldn't hurt. It's totally normal if you start to get some burny feelings in your quads. They're doing a lot here, especially with the back and forth and with your knees being bent like this. So just keep playing with it. You'll build up strength with time. And as you do it more and more, you'll find that you're able to get more snap in the hips here. That kind of comes with time. Remember to keep the chest lifted and the low belly engaged. Let's dance. So let's drill those hip lifts. Remember, if you're finding it too challenging, drop the lock and just come back to the squeezing in the hips, the up and down squeeze, and just slowly play around with adding that lock in later. And we'll start out slow and we'll play around with the speeds a little bit and just see how it feels. So right squeeze, left. Right squeeze, left squeeze. Right squeeze, left squeeze, right squeeze, left squeeze. Let's speed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to come back to slightly slower and right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Now let's add the lock. So right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Slow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's speed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's add some arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again. The arms are optional, remember. Let's see if we can go a little bit faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Let's come back to the squeeze. So squeeze, squeeze. Okay, now let's add the lock again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Beautiful. Well done. Thanks so much for dancing with me. I hope this hip lift tutorial helped you to love your body and find pleasure in movement. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below and I will see you in my next video.